you have kids and I have kids, and these kids don't care. As long as they have good Wi-Fi, they could be in a shed in the middle of the northern Arctic countryside. They don't give a crap about that. And they want to have a nicer truck, though. I mean, so it's like, it's so different how things have changed. And my generation your generation is, we don't want to spend that much money. I hate spending the money I do on trucks, but my accountant tells me. My tax accountant called me out last year in her office because I did not spend enough money. It cost me more money.
Yeah, you're gonna give it to the government.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'd love to buy lower trim levels. I really would, but it cost me more money to buy them.
Yeah,
which is fascinating to flip that around. But yes, there are, and I think what's happening now is we have people that can't afford the trucks that they are buying. They are stretching out 10-year loan terms. They're putting themselves in the distress because they see somebody has it and they aspirational want to do that, because they're matching with the Joneses and they have these issues. Well, yeah. And Whistling Diesel is another great example. We call them enthusiast channels. Doug DeMuro, Whistling Diesel, Street Speed 717. Their enthusiast channels are showing this stuff up and the cool stuff they're doing. They're jumping them and wrecking them and all kind of stuff. Well, that's putting this mindset in people's head that they have to be that person. And you don't. My 62 C10 does the same job that my RHO does.
Yeah.
Now, I'd much rather drive my RHO. But, not to the gas station. The gas station really hurts. But I'd love to drive it more in my 62, but the job hasn't changed.
Yeah.
But the customers changed, right? These corporate farms. I saw a guy have a King Ranch Ford truck with a spreader behind it spraying weeds with that, because it made more sense for his business and for his farm to buy the King Ranch over the XL and XLT from a tax standpoint. And then he was like, well, I want a nice ride to town. Why not get a better truck?
Get massaging leather seats and that.
Yeah. One. I mean, farmers are getting older, man. I tell you what, I got back issues. I love massaging seats. I will. I'm guilty as charged.
Yeah. I haven't gotten there yet. I don't know what it is, man. I can't buy a $60,000, $80,000, $8,000. I just can't do it. I would find some other way to spend the money in the business. Like, I'd rather go buy land and be like, I'm going to build a off-road track or something to test it. I don't know why. I think it's because I currently have paid off vehicles. I just bought a brand new car and I don't have payments. I hate payments. I hate debt. And I feel like it's one of those, it's like parental modeling. I want to, show my kids, like, you shouldn't have these things that drag you down and make you this feeling that you're a wage slave all the time. And I went through that in my life and figuring it out. And it took years of working 2 jobs and getting rid of the debt, having, and now I just have no debt other than a little bit of mortgage left. So it's just and I don't know, it's like PTSD for me. Eventually I'll get over it and buy something new. I'll come, you'll see me next week with an AT4 or something, but
lifted on 35s, gold suspension painted,
and then complain that I don't get good mileage because I have 37s on it. So an offset.
Yeah, no, I can appreciate that. And we're all in a different period of our lives, and it is frustrating to see the bigger YouTube channels and buy those kind of stuff. And I fought it for a while, but I actually wanted to buy land, and land is a tough thing to buy. It's because you don't do the same tax schedule you do on buying trucks, because they changed the section tax code 179 and made a big difference. You can write up as much of the trucks you want the first year. With land, you have to do a 10-year, 15-year write-off. And so your eventual tax savings are just tough. I tell people all the time on my channel, especially, never buy vehicles like I buy vehicles.
Right.
Don't do that. Don't buy like I do. Just don't try to live my life I do, because it makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. I buy things for stupid reasons. I buy them because of the newest things out there, which, agreeably, maybe shouldn't do. I've seen 2-year-old trucks have more problems than first-year trucks. I've seen all sorts of things over the years. But it's just because of the way the business is, the way the views are, and the way YouTube is, and the way taxes are. It's very frustrating. But it's that's just the way the business is. And I tell people all the time, like, don't follow my rule. It's a different mindset. I did not want to buy a truck. I remember 21. I made a bunch of money during COVID. COVID was good for me because people were at home watching YouTube.
Yeah,
frankly, I mean, it worked out great, and for me, and it hurt other businesses, and some businesses never came back, and I really do feel bad for the small businesses. But I didn't want to buy a truck. And I went to my tax accountant and I laid my numbers down. She goes, "You're going to owe $35,000. You don't buy a truck." I went to the bank. Bank said, "Go buy a truck." Went to the wife. I said, she goes, "Buy a truck." You know what I couldn't do? I couldn't buy a truck because there's none available. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and every year I go to buy a truck and man, I am just like, I stress about it. I stress about it. I stress about it because it's a YouTube game. If I buy a Jeep Gladiator, for example, it's been out for a while. Nobody watches that stuff. If I buy a used truck, nobody watches that. You have to buy the newest stuff, right? And people are talking about real. So yeah, cars again. Cars are not a good investment. They're not. I'm not telling you they are. Real estate's much better investment, but from a business tax standpoint, and realize this business is on YouTube is about views. That's what the business is. And if you don't buy new vehicles in my type of business, you don't get the views. And so you don't get the views, you lose the income, you pay more taxes, you end up, losing your business. It sucks. Yeah, Roth IRA, I looked into that. Does not save as much as you think. Leasing actually is a bad option for my business in that lease payments, you only write off the payment each month. So if your payment's $1,000, you take away the interest, you may only make $800 in savings each month. And the other problem I have is that leasing always gets people confused. New vehicles come out in the fall of the year. So I only write off 2 or 3 payments for the entire year. Well, that really sucks when you need a $35,000 write-off. It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. I know I've talked to a bunch of different tax accountants over the years, and it's only in my particular business, in my particular role, in what we're doing. In every other business out there, it's totally different. Totally different. So
yeah, I saw TFL was doing the same thing at the end of last year. They were like, well, the accountant told them, hey, we got to buy a new Ram or whatever it was. Same exact thing. And they bought their ranch and all that stuff.
I've known Roman for years, and Roman gave me the idea to buy a truck because of what he was doing. And so I talked to Roman about it. Actually, I was on different press trips with Roman back to back, which is kind of strange. And Roman and I were talking about it. I've actually been in a ranch, and Roman's viewpoint of buying the ranch isn't about the tax savings. It's about the fact that it can film in a location that doesn't get them pulled over all the time by viewers. Yeah, because understand they're in Colorado, and you're probably in the area, but you go in the mountains, Colorado, and people know who you are. Me in Nebraska, I go on the road, nobody gives a crap who I am. But in Colorado, they couldn't film, and he wanted the place to be able to film indoors. And I've been to the ranch, and he's putting a big building on the ranch, and it's a different part of his business. Now he is in a very different tax bracket than I am. And so it's definitely it's a very different type of conversation to have with him.
Yeah. He was talking about the same thing you did about he maybe gets 18 videos. They kind of have it around 18 videos on a new truck, and then they just get rid of it, whatever it is. And it just doesn't, because the views slow down and it doesn't make sense to keep investing. They had to pay camera guys and
I don't want to get that big. I don't want to get as big as he is with all those issues and things. I think I do a bit, and Roman does a better job with doing the iCalling things. I've done the iCalling for years. I used to live in Salida and Buena Vista. Used to drive Denver all the time. The iCalling is just a hill. It's just whatever. But they do a really good job with that. They do a really good job with drag racing and the iCalling. They've done a really good job with that. I tend to do more deep dives than they do, so I keep my vehicles longer because I want to do that stuff. I do more modifications than they do, and I know why he doesn't do that stuff, because modifications are time suck. I mean, you have somebody in the shop filming the labor guy doing it. And you got to pay for the labor, and you got to do this. Luckily I have some people in town that are good friends of mine that have shops that help me out with that stuff. But it's again, for most of the audience, it doesn't make any sense. And you log on YouTube, and it doesn't make sense. But then, like you start on YouTube path, you start doing your channel, start watching stuff, and then it starts making sense in a way. It's still like, I don't want to spend the money, and I appreciate that and buy something. But then you start going, you know what? Actually, it does make sense with this, and it does make sense with that. It does, and you start understanding that piece of the business. But YouTube is so bizarre from a business standpoint that people don't get it. And I play golf a lot. I play golf with some retirees, and I only play with the same retirees all the time because I can't stand explaining my job to people in their 70s all the time.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know how long I'm going to do it, but we'll see where it goes. I mean, it's been fun so far, and when it's not fun, I won't do it.
Yeah, perfect.